Hello, hello, my friends. Welcome to the Oh My Goodness podcast. My name is AJ Smith, she, her. Today, we have this glorious guest that y'all, I have no chill about. I have no chill about good things on a normal day, but Eva Blake is a force to be reckoned with, and that she's here has me completely beside myself. So let me give you her bio because honestly, I've seen a lot of bios. This is probably one of my favorite bios I've ever read, which I sent to her in a message, and I was like, this is astounding. So, drumroll please. Eva Blake is a certified sexological bodyworker, somatic sex educator, and transformational coach with nearly 2 decades at the intersection of erotic intelligence, nervous system attunement, amen, and liberation. Ugh, she has been a pro dom, a sex worker, and a community priestess. Like we could mic drop right there and be good. Maracas on, we're carrying forward. She has worked across the full map of erotic and relational life, BDSM and kink, polyamory, orgasm, and women's sexual power. Rebuilding trust after rupture, that's a whole situation right there. Visionary erotic leadership. If it lives in the body or between two people, she has been there. Yes, she has. Her clients are high performing women and couples who have built extraordinary lives and whose beds have gone quiet, whose chemistry has flattened into routine, whose sex life has become the one place ambition doesn't reach. Ugh, gets you in the heart. She works where most coaches won't, at the collision point between personal pattern and cultural architecture, between the nervous system and the systems that shaped it. Ugh, preaching. Patriarchy colonizes desire. Eva's work liberates it. Oh, yes. Her methodology, desire, body, voice is somatic, systemic, and unsparing. Clients come when fine is no longer enough. They stay because the work works. Girl.
I mean, I'm already teary-eyed of how you're introducing me. Thank you so much. I love it.
I welcome. So now that we've got this gorgeous bio, I would love if you want to also introduce yourself. Um, where are we finding you today? Yeah, if you kind of want to share how you got into it, floor is yours for a minute too for your own vibe introduction.
Yeah. I mean, look, I got here where I got here because when I went to college, I went to a women's college, and it was the first
Hmm.
time that I was surrounded by all women and not teenage boys.
Yeah.
And I I mean, these women were and still are like the smartest, the most gorgeous, the most talented, like the fiercest, the most athletic, the strongest, like all of the most in so many different categories. And yet they would go out on these dates with boys and come back to the dorms and be just like heartbroken and frustrated and pissed off. And the smartest women in the room were still the victims of sexual violence. And I fucking hated that. And I was really curious why this kept happening. Um, and then I was in a circle of lesbians at the school, and they had all like slept with each other, and they were all like best friends, and they were all like so happy and like planning like longer relationships, like we want to be friends forever type of relationships. And I couldn't understand like what the fuck is going on with how we relate to each other as human beings, and why is it so different in these different sectors of the human experience. That's really how it started. And then, you know, many of those other things from my bio contributed to it. Being in the sex work field, being in community magical circles, and being able to relate to people in very different ways um, than the dominant paradigm of man, woman. You get on the relationship escalator and you like get the marriage and do the kids thing, and you like have a bank account together. And I've really opted out of all of those things because it never really felt right to me. So it's a little bit of the backstory, but mostly what I really want to do is help people figure out who they are. Like, if you want to do the like thing that mainstream society says that you want to do, and you just want to do it really well, great. I want to help you do that really well. If you want to do something totally different and you have no idea what that is, I want to help you figure it out.
Mm. Mm. You remind me of like Cold Stone Creamery, like the ice cream shop. Like you're just like, yes, we have all of the flavors, we have all of the mix-ins. What do you desire? It's okay. I
Yes.
I love, so for context, I grew up in purity culture, right? Where sex is bad,
Mhm.
our bodies are bad, our flesh is bad. So did a lot of
Yeah.
my clients. And like there's good and bad, right? From any way we grow up, right?
Yeah.
And I love how open you talk about everything. Like, and I've been
Mhm.
following you for, I don't know, 4 years now. I think I kind of came
Okay,
into
thank
Julia
you.
Wells' world. And you were, oh, she cried, now I cried. It's good. Like the thing is open. You were saying words I didn't even know to have the language for back then.
Okay.
I think when you speak, you're giving such permission, even when you're like,
Yeah.
hey, high up of like BDSM or kink or polyamory, and people are like, I am in a vanilla marriage. I like, little sex, like this is too much, but also like
Uh-huh.
it's all permission. Like you are a
Yeah.
walking permission slip. And
Yeah.
especially when society's conditioning is so loud and so aggressive and it gets in our bones and it shuts us down during sex that your voice, I mean, just for me, I'll just speak for me, has been so helpful,
Mhm. Yeah.
and I think so for other people, right? Obviously, you've been doing this for decades. So your ripples and your impacts, right? And then they're passing it on in your words and your language. So just if you're listening to this and you're like, well, that's above my pay grade, that's above my sex
Yeah.
capacity. No, no, no. This wherever you are on the spectrum is worthy of, I think, listening to this conversation. And I'm curious on your perspective of this, because I kind of came in this thinking like I should maybe give a disclaimer to my listeners to be like, hey,
Uh-huh.
if you're uncomfortable or itchy, like that's okay. Like it's okay to sit.
Yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
I like the idea of it not being a disclaimer, but an invitation to like
Mhm.
be with it. And so I'm curious, how do you respond when people come up to your work or come up to sex and conversations and they shut down or they're like, no, I can't have this, or this is too much, or yeah, I'm curious what would you say to somebody who's listening and maybe honestly hearing some of this for the first time of I can sex, like we're talking about out loud with our words, like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, the very first thing is let's just take a breath.
Yeah.
Like, it really doesn't matter how, like, where are at on the spectrum of your level of experience of whether if we call it vanilla or kinky or your own level of how much permission you give yourself, because wherever you're at, you always need to breathe. And your breath is the very first place where you can create expansion inside yourself, and where you can remember that as a human being, you get to expand and you get to soften. And sometimes you can contract, but that after contraction, there's always expansion, and your breath will continue to prove that to you all of the time. And your breath is also a really good metaphor for being in control of your life, because you can breathe and never think about your breath and you can continue to survive every single day. Or you can intentionally address your breath and manipulate your breath and control your breath. And you can increase your heart rate and you can increase your temperature, or you can lower all of that. You can drive your energy through your body. So if you want to have big, expansive, explosive experiences, you can use your breath as a tool to help you do that. So I really, you know, I didn't know I was going to talk about this, but here we are. I always use the breath as a tool that we can use, but also as a relationship tool, like a tool for your own energy, your own system, kind of the mechanics of your body or the functioning of your body, but actually as a tool to develop a better friendship with yourself and a better friendship with someone else. Because in in our own experience, like, our breath is a tool that we use in the course of our own arousal, whatever that is. Arousal can be erotic arousal, it can be joy, it can be the arousal of activation, and I'm pissed and I'm annoyed at you, right? It can be, I'm enraged about what's happening in the world. That's a form of arousal. Um, and your breath is also this thing that lives in between us. In our relationship, there's me, there's you, and then there's the space in between us. And our breath can contribute to how we relate to all of those pieces. So, yeah, the question that you originally asked is how do you work with someone who's like, "Oh, this is too much," or "I'm not ready for this," is let's just take a breath and breathe into whatever that fear is, whatever that story is, whatever that dialogue is. And let's take a breath and create a little bit more space in the room for you to be able to participate, to learn, to bring the information in, to synthesize, to like hear what else is possible in the space.
That's perfect. Podcast over. That's all. We don't need to listen to any more podcasts for the rest of the year. That is everything we need to know. Bring breath. Yes.
It's a
I
good grounding, yeah.
Oh, it's so good. And I love the intimacy of is breath is the expansion. I've never thought I even like wrote it down. We're gonna have to thank God I have a transcript. Um, but that it like that feels so expansive and so true. You know how sometimes people say things and it just lands in your bones and you're like, ah, yes, that. The way you said that was so glorious. And I sometimes I have clients when I'm like, okay, we're gonna take 3 big breaths with audible exhales because we're getting our parasympathetic nervous system online because
Yeah,
little parts rearing up and stuff. But it's so we can stay in our bodies. And so I love
correct.
that Brene Brown talks about, anxiety is contagious, but calm is contagious. And even
Hmm.
just watching you, for those who are listening,
Hmm.
I think Spotify has the video and YouTube has the video. Just your presence is just so grounding as you're talking about breath. Even I'm like, yes, like, it's just, yes.
Yeah. I think that when it comes to sexuality, our culture, our society is ultimately sex negative, even though it is also sex obsessed. And
Yeah.
that is a really funky dynamic.
Yeah.
For sex to be a thing that is constantly pushed in our faces in a lot of different realms through all different kinds of media, sexual violence is really normalized. But it's also we have a lot of negative connotations, shame-based connotations, as you talked about, like purity culture, that's not just in purity culture that there's a shame construct. And that for most of us, we grew up with shame around our bodies and around sexuality. And so for most people, there's some level of anxiety or fear or shame that we have either on our bodies, either how our body functions, like the when I say our bodies, I mean like the way that it looks, how we feel in our bodies, like how we relate to our body, but also like how our body functions. So people may have a lot of shame around or anxiety around, am I going to have an orgasm? Am I going to ejaculate too soon or not enough? Or am I going to take too long? Or all of these other kinds of questions. And notice that they're all phrased from the perspective of there's something wrong with me, right?
Mm.
Am I going to do it too fast, too soon, not enough? It's all from that framing. And then people have shame or anxiety around experience level. There's this whole the manosphere discourse around body count, which is complete nonsense in my opinion. And also then there's the other side, which is like if you don't have a lot of experience, and then that becomes this like relational problem. So I think that the other part is that I really want to normalize that most of us carry some of this fucking baggage and that it's not your fault and that it's not something that you generated from your own thinking. It's that you live in a society that is really really ill when it comes to sexuality, and that so much of what you think in your own mind is a discourse that was given to you, implanted in you, and that you are allowed to reject it at any time that you want to. And that's the systems work and the kind of cultural architecture pieces that I mentioned in my bio. Like it's really important that we disconnect our own personal worthiness as a human being from patriarchy and colonization and those systems of thinking, that ideology, and the way that those systems organize power, and how that power then shapes our experiences and our expressions and our expectations of sex and the body and relationships as a whole.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I just, I think alongside of what you said about shame and stories, and I literally said today in a coaching call I had, like, we don't just pick up stories like dollar bills on the street. I mean, we can.
Correct.
They were like handed to us. And he's like, hey, do you want this lemonade? You're like, thank you so much. I love lemonade. And also like safety's built in, right? Safety of belonging. How do we do? And then it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? Like, oh, you're a virgin.
Yeah.
You're so prude. Oh my gosh, you've slept around with more than one person. Oh my God, what a slut. Like, there's no
Yeah.
winning here. And I would love for people who are in the middle. Okay, I'm gonna like two-part prong this question, and then you take it however you want.
Sure.
So on your, you have YouTube that you did, and you did this video, and you were talking about vision and what you want, and dreaming that and being able to speak it because then you're living into it. And also, I think when we have all these stories, being like, my vision is this story, but also it doesn't fit. So when we're doing that detangling, and I feel like I had to do this with my mom, God, me, like, what's my intuition? What's my big soul? What's God? What's the church? What's healthy? What's not? What's working? What's not mine? Is we have to do we have to do the same damn thing with sex. We have to do the same damn thing with so many things.
Yeah.
But what tools or advice would you give for people who are like, oh, sex also has conditioning. I'm allowed to ask questions, or I'm allowed to make a new story, and how scary that can feel sometimes. Like, yeah, because that's so vulnerable too, to say, I want more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, when it comes to desire, first I want to talk about the way that us as a culture think about desire when we think about sex is that we think about desire as, I am so hot for you. I want to like rip your clothes off right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to
The
put
bodice
you in
rippers.
bed. I want to. It's like
Yeah.
we think about that is desire. And really, desire is, what do you want? Okay. It comes
Oh,
in
I love
two
that. Make it
parts.
simple.
It comes in two parts. What do you want right this minute?
Okay.
I want I want to drink water. I want to go to the bathroom. I want to be kissed. I want you to not talk to me. I want to close my eyes. I want to go outside and have sunshine on my face. It is the, what do you want right now in this moment? That is temporary. That is of this moment. That is a temporal desire. There are circumstances that go along with the desire of the moment. Because in 30 minutes, I may not want a drink of water. I may not want to be outside in the sunshine. I may want to be all up in your face, not go away, right? So there's desire of the current moment. If we only talk about desire of the current moment, we miss a whole lot. Why? Because our desire for every current moment changes as moments pass. What we want today may not be what we want tomorrow. And if you are over the age of 30, what you wanted at 20 is different at 30 and will absolutely be different by the time you're 55. Bodies change, injuries change, your money changes, your level of grief and trauma changes, your level of healing changes. All of those things that happen in life change your experience and shape the different kinds of things that you want in a moment, but also like when you're in bed. Then there is, what do you really want in your sexual life? What do you really want in your intimate life? This is a much bigger question. This is about, what are the qualities and characteristics of the experience that you want to be having in your life. This is a vision question. This is a, like, if I could wave a magic wand and have everything that I desire in my sexual life, what would it be? This is where all of those little bitty temporary desires that you want in the bedroom over the course of time, that's where they all go into a bigger, much bigger vision. And your bigger vision can hold the multiplicity. So yeah, you can hold the multiplicity of I'm a queer person in a straight passing relationship, and I want that to be great. I want to be in queer community and still, for you, as you told me, be in love with my husband. Fantastic, wonderful, love. You can be polyamorous, be kinky, also have regular kind of boring vanilla in quotes sex whenever you want to, right? So your vision is much bigger than a moment to moment temporary desire. And if we only are talking about the moment to moment temporary desire, we miss all of the qualities that are really important to us. Those qualities are the actual foundation that make the safety and the trust that make all of the sex and the pleasure and the ecstasy possible. So you want most people want relationship and romance or intimacy that has really strong bonds of trust where partners are really interested in each other. You know, the long lasting healthy sexual relationships are characterized by two things. One, people are best friends with each other. Number two, they make time for sex. The reason why that's important as a foundation, but also in simplicity, is that like all of the like funky, weird, kinky desires that you may have, or all of the like foreplay that's on your list, it happens and it works after you have a foundation of relationship that is this person is my best friend. So how do you relate to somebody who's your best friend? You like talk to them, you're curious. Who are you? What's going on in your life? What's important to you? Tell me about what motivates you. What are you passionate about? Where do you want to be in 5 years? What's going on with you? How did you feel about that? How do you feel when they say that to you? What's happening? Are you crying? Please talk to me. I'm here for you. I have my arms open wide. I want to be with you. Like cultivating that relationship is the foundation of a long lasting healthy sexual life with another human being. So it's really important that we understand both a longer term vision, those qualities that I just talked about, and also the temporary in the moment desires that we have. So if ever you're thinking, I don't like what's happening, or I want more, or I just want something different, the big question to ask yourself is, what the fuck do I want? What do I want? What do I want this to feel like? What do I want it to smell like? What do I want it to taste like? But what are the qualities that I want to be experiencing? And most people are saying something like trust, love, tenderness, um, somebody who is hungry to know me and understand me, right? Best friends, that's the foundation. Does that answer your question? I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. I always trust that the question is more like a diving board and you
Yeah,
jump
sure.
off Olympic style and
Yeah. But you
whatever you
went swimming.
say is exactly what needed to be said. Disregarding the question entirely. Wherever you go is yes, the bus is going in the
Yeah.
right direction. Yeah, I oh, like would that we could have like a 5 hour podcast. I love
Mhm.
I love how you divvied up the vision part because I think
Mhm.
it reminds me of the notebook and he's like, what do you want? What do you want? She's like, "I don't know." Like we often think of visions and desires as these really big, either this or that things. And I like,
Sure.
right? I like how you not bit it up, chewed it, whatever, the small little
Uh-huh.
pieces of different kinds of questions and the nuances and the qualities. And also, like, I think
Yeah.
of Jared's my best friend, so I love that. He's so like, so I was like, yes, exactly that. Uh,
Yeah.
but like, I think where people trip up too is if I have a desire once, then that's the same
Yeah.
desire always, right? Especially for
Yeah.
those temporary desires. If I want sex tonight, he's gonna want to expect it every single night. If I want her tonight,
Yeah.
I need her tomorrow. And it's like, no, I like that. That is a shifting thing, right? And with age, time period, day, stress, all of
Mhm.
it, but also
Mhm.
the overarching vision of even
Mhm.
just asking those questions. Because I think too, when we start asking those questions, it guides us and illuminates what's not working. And that can
Sure.
feel so scary when we're like,
Sure.
oh, I would like an open conversation and transparent because sex is painful, or I never get off, or
Right.
he always wants it. I have clients going through perimenopause right now, and their
Mhm.
sex drive is out the window. They're like, I have
Mhm.
no idea. She went on vacation. Perhaps she'll be back. She sends a postcard in the mail. They're like, occasionally I light up,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but their husband is like
What's
at
yeah, what's wrong?
war. And so I'd love
Yeah,
to hear, yeah, your thoughts on that, when it's like, here's my vision, but also my body, and also this isn't that.
yeah. Okay, there's a couple things in here. Let me see if I can remember them all. I'm also going through perimenopause, and one of the things that
Hey.
happens in perimenopause is that your brain goes like it just like stops working occasionally, and you just forget
Yeah.
things. Okay, so there's three things. There's at least three things. One is communication. One
Mhm.
is and the culture of communication. Another thing is the kind of perimenopause of it all. Another thing I've already forgotten. So there's a really
I wrote
great
it down. You're
example
good. I
for
got you.
you. Okay, so number one is like most people struggle around sexuality because they don't talk about it enough. And 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 that's a real failure of our society that we haven't learned and taught each other how to generate a culture of easy, casual, relaxed conversation about sex and sexuality and desire and our bodies in our most intimate relationships. And I want to be really clear that when I say communication, I don't mean like a communication style, like you go for a weekend and you learn a communication style and then it like fixes everything. I'm talking about like having sometimes the same conversation over and over and over again that is actually generative, not having the same conversation that results in bullshit, in nothingness, in more disappointment. And most of us don't have context for that. And we don't
Yeah.
have structure for that. We don't even have like an idea of that. And most of us were taught when we talk about sex, it's one conversation, the birds and the bees, do you want to have it or not? And that's not enough for us as humans in the modern age who have a lot of things that are happening in the world, in our brains, in our chemistry day to day, in our bodies, etc. And it gets to the thing that you said about the desire. If I have this one desire, then I'm going to have it all the time. And if we're not having regular conversation outside of the bedroom, over breakfast, over a cup of coffee, over a walk, over a car ride, over yeah, like out of the bedroom and out of this pressure that says if we're talking about sex, then we're going to go do the sex. If we're not
Mhm.
having these conversations, then it's very easy for anyone to assume if you wanted this yesterday, you're going to want it tomorrow. The other thing that's really important about building a culture of open communication is that the way our society sets us up around sexuality is that there's always something wrong with us. So it's very easy to take feedback as a personal attack. But if you
Yep.
have regular open communication with feedback
Mm.
loops and praise sessions and breakdowns, what worked last night, what didn't work for you last night, what was really fun, what was like the best part, like etc., then you begin to train yourself out of taking shit personally. And that's critical because I want to go to bed with you, my partner, my lover, because I adore you. I want you to have pleasure because I adore you. I want to be part of your pleasure because I adore you. So if I'm not like, if there's something that's not working between us, I really want to know, because I'm going to tell you if something's not working for me, right? And it's critical that we don't take it personally because if you take it personally and then you run off and you like have a bunch of feelings about it and you're rejecting me and you spiral out and then we have this like then that's this is another place where people get into this like codependency caretaking loops that really break down the possibility for actual attraction to each other because
Mm.
once you start parenting your partner you lose a lot of sexual attraction towards them.
Yeah. I
So it's important for us to talk about sex in a way that allows us to look at it as like if you were renovating the house, you would choose the colors and you would choose the hardware. You know, if you were looking at an outfit, you'd be like, does this look flattering on me? Or whatever your metrics are. We want to talk about it openly, honestly. Okay. There
yes.
was one other thing I was going to say, which is about, yeah, which is about perimenopause. Okay, a
Yeah.
couple things.
Wait. Before you dive into perimenopause, can we circle
Yeah,
back real quick?
totally.
Because I think, and don't worry, I wrote down perimenopause. I got you.
Great. I love you.
Because yes, I want to talk about that. I think the communication thing and what you said about parenting your partner, that's huge. Um, but also you said something about codependency or like the
Yeah,
people
like
pleasing.
codependency caretaking.
Yeah. For me, with how I grew up in thinking about sex was that like the end goal is their pleasure. And so it's fine, don't complain. It's all good. And
Yeah.
so, and I talked to Jer about this, like if I could share this, just because I think, vulnerability is helpful all around. But the first 10 years, like we had some good sex, but also it was hard for me. It was painful for me until I read Pussy by Mama Gina and Come As You Are and
Uh-huh.
got what is it? The pelvic floor therapy. And then
Uh-huh.
my whole life changed. Like
Yeah.
at night and day. And like so much of that also came from speaking aloud what I
Yeah.
actually wanted. And it was
Yeah.
crazy because I remember reading like, hey, you're allowed to ask. And I was like, I don't fucking think so. And
Yeah.
then I had like later in the chapter or something, it was talking about like, hey, like talk to your partner because your partner wants, if your partner is actually for you, then your
Yeah.
partner is for you. And you
Yeah.
giving him or them a Christmas list that has shit on it that you don't actually want, you're going to be disappointed on Christmas morning. So you can't be surprised on Christmas morning that you didn't get what you wanted if you didn't put it on your list. And I was like, oh. And so we had
Yeah.
we have a levels kind of thing is like one is like just chit chatting. Three is like,
Mhm.
hey, like no joking. We need to have a heart to heart. Five is death, destruction, and divorce. So we had
Okay.
level like 3, 4 where I was like, hey, I thought everything was good. And like, I just thought this was sex, right? Because when I would talk to my friends, they're like, yes, this is good. And also sometimes it just is what it is. I'm like, okay, and thank God I knew about lube, right? And it's
Yeah.
crazy because I even sold sex toys. Like I worked for passion parties. So I was teaching some of the stuff, but
Hmm.
also
Hmm.
that even if we're doing, sometimes we can have that. But what I just wanted to highlight of what you said is once I started actually owning what I wanted and asking for it, he was like, oh my gosh, of course. Because
Yeah.
he's for my pleasure. And it's only heightened everything. I'm like, we're about to hit 17 years of marriage in August, and like it's good. Life is good. It's good. But I don't know what would have happened if
Yeah.
I hadn't have read those books, if I hadn't have asked what I needed. Like it was really frustrating for both of us. And I thought I was doing us a favor. And actually he was feeling it too. And so
Hmm.
I want to
Hmm.
ask you before we tap in the perimenopause thing is what happens because you talked about rupture too, and like that's a whole other conversation, right?
Hmm.
But what about when it feels like you want to have this conversation, but you don't know if your partner is for you, even if you're married? Like I knew Jer had my back, like we're good, but also sometimes with kids, life things like that's a vulnerable space to be like, are you for me? Can I ask for this? Or if you've gotten shut down in the past, what would you say to those persons that are like, I love this for you, AJ. Jared is a good cookie. My husband is a cookie. I don't know. A little burnt around the edges. Yeah.
I I don't think that's a sex question. I think that's an existential question, which is
Ooh.
do do you want to spend your life with someone who doesn't have your back? And do you want to be questioning that for the next 10, 20, 30, 50 years? That's a your existential what are you here on earth for? Question. Are you here on earth to serve someone? Because that's what it becomes. For a lot of women, it becomes you are a servant.
Yeah.
You become a maid
Mhm.
that they have sexual access to. Is that who you want to be? Or are you on this earth for something more than that? Because you can
Okay.
still be a mom, you can still be a wife, you can still
Yeah.
be, you know, you can still be a business owner, you can be a multimillionaire, you can, I don't know, you can be the choir director. All of that is still possible.
Yeah.
But do you want to be spending your life? Do you want to sleep in the same bed with somebody who you wonder, you even have to question, does this person have my back? That's not a sex question. And I think that, I mean, this takes us into like, this is where you get to probably have a level 5 conversation with your
Yeah.
worldview. Because if
Yeah.
your worldview tells you that that's your job, you may want to really check that out.
Mm. Yeah.
And they're deconstructing religion and deconstructing patriarchy is good work. So you've made a comment way earlier about like it's a no-win situation. And you were talking about like, there's all this shame and everybody's got shame and it's a no-win situation. And I thought in that moment, I said, the winning actually is deconstructing all the bullshit.
Yeah. Agreed.
That's the
Yeah.
winning,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Because there's freedom. I had no
Yeah,
clue. I would feel so good on the outside of all the stories.
yeah,
I thought I was going to die. I was like, we're
yeah,
all going to die. I'm going to get disowned. We're going to be outside the street. My husband's going to divorce me if I don't have these societal beliefs. But God, I feel so
yeah,
good in my body. And I'm in my body.
yeah,
Wow. Sorry,
yeah.
keep going. Yes.
But that kind of question, should I hold back because I don't know if my partner's for me? I think it's really important that you find out if your partner's for you, because
Yeah.
divorce is painful and it's expensive and it does put the kids through a lot and it does cost you quite a lot. And also, that doesn't mean that you have to repeat the same pattern or that you're going to be alone on the other side. Um, uh, yeah, I think it's just really important. I mean, I say this, let me be totally real. Like I am a woman. I'm, 46 years old. I don't have children. I live alone and I fucking love it. And I'm really proud of this particular life that I have. So I definitely can say, as a woman who lives alone with no children and does not have a male partner in her life and does not share my bed with anybody, that I'm like really happy about that. My nervous system is like really fucking chill,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
I am not centered on whether or not somebody else approves of me. I don't look over my shoulder hoping that, a partner is approving of me or is allowing me to live or do a certain thing, you know? So that, you know, coming from that perspective, I also know how important it is to have my own autonomy. Having said that, I've also been in abusive relationships. So I know what it is like to be looking over my shoulder and be wondering, if this person who's being a monster to me and terrorizing me in my own home is going to do it again today. So I can say with some certainty that I would much rather live alone at home with my dogs and, have to do everything by myself than be in a relationship with somebody and feel totally lonely and unsupported and like I can't actually be my whole full real self with them. So, yeah, that's an existential question. Let's get clear and clean on that. And once we do that, then get the divorce or double down in the relationship and like let's move forward. I
Yeah.
think that Like, because the other thing is like sitting on the fence is really painful and it is going to tear your pussy apart if you keep doing
Literally.
it.
Yeah. I don't think people always realize, you know, it's almost like it's easier if I don't say first off, the existential thing, holy buckets, that's a total reframe. Like I had to take a moment of like just thinking about all different conversations I've had, friends, military life, like the divorce rate is crazy, right? So sometimes Jared and I are like unicorns, but
Right.
such a good point. You make such a good point. Um, but no, shit. Oh, no, come on. Oh no, I lost it. Oh,
It's okay. Well, let's
do
talk
you want
about
to talk to
perimenopause and being forgetful.
give me like 10 seconds though, because with it, that moment of acknowledgement of being
Yeah.
like, oh, maybe not. Can you say something to the person whose body is processing in real time that their partner is not of not even that they have to get a divorce or something like that, but just that they're not crazy, they could trust their bodies, that there is goodness. Can you just like speak to the person who's like, I can see it in my mind's eye. She's in the car, she's got tears coming down, like somebody's gonna be listening
Mhm.
to this, realizing that their marriage is not is
Yeah.
oh, because they're on the fence. We think it's easier if we
Mhm.
keep it inside, right?
Mhm.
And Liz Gilbert said something to Glennon Doyle along the lines of liberation is not a one-way street. And so
Correct.
even if it's hard, we get clarity because the unclear, like clarity is
Mhm.
kindness. And so when we're unclear, we're muddy, that's taking
Yeah.
up so much energetic battery that we don't even realize.
Yeah.
So even if it's hard, but yeah,
It's
just
also generating a lot of actual autoimmune disease inside of your body.
yeah.
So, so now science is like telling us there's a correlation between repressed emotions and autoimmune problems, and that it's higher in women. Um, and a lot of it is because we do take on the emotional load and the emotional labor and the mental load of family and all of the things. And so sitting on the fence or trying to process and assimilate it all by yourself is actual a recipe for death and disease. So again, this comes back to, you know, every single one of us is worthy of having a life that is meaningful and healthy and fulfilling. And no matter where you are in the moment, in this particular moment, there's a pathway for you to get there. It may feel like you are like crawling across broken glass, but like I guarantee you, if you're in that position right now, you've already been crawling on broken glass. So let's just go a little further to get to the next version of liberation and freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for saying that. This
Yeah.
has been exquisite.
Yeah. Thank
Is no
you.
other word. I know other people are going to be like, holy buckets. So don't worry, my friends. Her stuff will be in the show notes, all the jazz. And is there anything that you want to say, love on people? Yeah, floor's yours. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm going to just reiterate this piece that like wherever you are right now, there is a pathway forward. And there, like, there's always going to be somebody who can support you at whatever step you're at on your journey. So, like listening to a podcast can be a really great introduction. Working with someone, getting real life feedback, being able to ask questions of that person. Like when I'm working with clients, I ask a lot of questions because I want to get to know you so well and so deeply that I can see what is coming for you. So I can have foresight for you, even if you can't have it for yourself, which means that I can help you like make choices that actually are really, really good for you so that you're in alignment. You're in aligned with what you really want and you're making the choices to make that happen for you. And I think that that's really important because sometimes people do the kind of I'm listening to the podcast and I'm reading the books and then they stop right there, and then they wonder why they're still doing the same patterns. So you sometimes it's really good to get out of your zone and get with somebody, because I imagine, AJ, you may be like this, but I'm I am a loving, supportive coach. I will get up your ass around accountability stuff. And I will gently, lovingly kick your ass to
Ah,
support you to interrupt your bullshit. Because I think that we all need that, especially
ah,
when our bullshit can be so ingrained in us. Um,
mm,
and the work that I do somatically and emotionally and cognitively, I do it in a variety of contexts. Um, I have a really amazing women's retreat in Mexico where we get naked and we dance and we get like cooked for all this amazing food. And that is really like how your body generates sexual freedom, how you do sexual freedom in your body, the somatic process, the actual experience of it all. And I do a year-long mentorship, because I think like the retreat is like, think about like breaking the egg, you
yeah.
know? And then the year long is really about locking it all in, and it's breaking all of these patterns. So if you
Mm,
want to get a divorce, if you want to transform your life, if you want to, do your next relationship right, come work with me for a year. That's where we put all of the pieces together over the course of time. And then I work with men, creating a men's group this year to unpack patriarchy for men who are ready to do that work in their
mm.
intimate life. And then, I teach like Kink 101 as well this fall. So I've got a variety of things, of ways that you can work with me. And I think that what's really important is like, if you're feeling called, you driving down the road right now, listening to the podcast, walking down the street, if you're feeling called, like, call to talk to somebody who's going to hold you and love you and hold your hand while you go through the shit to rearrange your life.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, to all of
Yes.
that. Oh, so good. I, oh, yes, yes. Go follow her on all of the things. Well, her Instagram is, or her website is liberatingdesire.com. Facebook is liberating desire, and
Yep.
Instagram is desire Eva Blake.
Yep.
She posts good stuff, things that make you go, hmm. I would love,
Mhm.
if you've got 2 minutes, can you say what you were going to
Mhm.
say on perimenopause? Like two, three
Yeah,
minutes.
let me see if I can say it. There's actually two overlapping pieces here. One is about perimenopause, about the hormone piece. So yeah, your hormones drop. Um, and how to do this in 2 minutes. Okay. So a
Sorry.
lot of us
We
as
can
women
do
have,
4 minutes.
a
You
lot
can
of
have.
us as women have responsive desire. The difference between responsive desire and spontaneous desire, I think, is important for women to understand. Um, but this is also, I think, enculturated in us, because as women, we're taught that we're supposed to wait and respond to someone coming on to us. And so most of us get turned on as a response to someone showing us attention. So in perimenopause, when your hormones go down and you get more irritable, it's a lot harder for you to respond
Oh,
to
fascinating.
arousal or to someone else's attention, if that is the primary way that you are habituated to be in arousal, is in response to someone else's attention or affection. So, what's really important, I think, for women is to cultivate a really powerful, dynamic, delicious, solo sexual life, a solo
Mm,
sexual relationship with yourself, so that
mm.
you're actually teaching your own self how to turn yourself on and be fully and completely 100% responsible for your own arousal, your own turn on, and your own orgasm. So that when you do get into stages of perimenopause or even menopause later, you have a wealth of knowledge and volumes of material and experiences that you've generated for yourself that you can lean on and return back to. So you're not in a state of a waiting game or a like, I have to wait until I'm not annoyed at you because you're like breathing in the same space as me to
Yeah.
then be turned on with you or by you. And this goes back to, you know, sexual autonomy, sexual liberation, but you being fully 100% in control of your own self. I also do a lot of teaching on that too. So
I love it.
yeah,
Yes.
that could be another hour of conversation. So
Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
you're
you. Did you
welcome. Thank
have,
you.
you're welcome. Did you have a favorite part of our conversation today?
Um, you know, I love hearing about you. I love that you get to surprise me that you were actually following me for longer than I was paying attention to you knowing me. So I think that's really sweet. And I think that I think that another part is like you knowing your audience is really powerful and being in tune with the woman who's driving the car and might be crying right now. And like it's important that we tell her and that she knows, of course, you've got her back. You are right here. And may any partner of any of these people, may they have her back the way that you have her back.
Thank you for those
Yeah.
words. I appreciate it. I just,
Yeah.
I love the kindness and generosity. One of my favorite parts is just the overpouring of knowledge and safety of which you speak. You
Thank
feel
you.
so grounded and safe and embodied that the trust just feels, yes, of course, of course. It just,
Thank you.
what a gift this is. Thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you. AJ, it's been a joy to be with you.
you as well. My friends who are listening, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. Please go follow her on all of the things, give her all of the loves. If this resonated with you, please share this with a friend. I know if you're listening to this and you made it this far, you were like, girl. So go send it to your friends, the people that you want to have these conversations with. Use it as a conversation starter. Go to, she's got YouTube videos, she's got other podcasts. Like you can do a whole deep dive into her world and her work. Let this be a jumping off space for you to know that you are allowed to ask questions. You're allowed to dig deeper. You are allowed to say, hey, here's what I need and not get repercussions for that. Yes, it might be stretchy. It might be like sticky, but like you are worthy of goodness. Your soul is good. Go drink your water, eat your cake, eat your carrots, go take a nap, take your shower, take care of yourself. Trust the process. Y'all are amazing. Sing your soul song, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.